Welcome to the Oh So Spurs podcast. Today, alongside a licensed coach, we're going to be discussing where Tottenham's new exciting signing in Xavi Simons is going to fit into Thomas Frank's squad and what exactly it changes for Spurs. How are you, JJ?
I'm doing well, thanks, Jim. Good day. Tottenham Hotspur have signed a player, so yeah, we're feeling pretty positive.
We have indeed. Never in doubt. We're never in doubt. Look, we had the request for more graphics and more visualizations, so here we are. We listened. Let's bring up our very own tactics board here, courtesy of JLA. And start off, JJ, with how we set up previously before the signing of Xavi Simons. Anything you wanted to touch on here before we move on to how we expect to line up with him in the side?
Yeah, so this is there's a couple of different examples that we wanted to look at in terms of how we think Xavi Simons is going to be deployed by Thomas Frank. So what we've done here is we've got the 4-3-3 setup that we went with against Manchester City so successfully. And again, we think that Thomas Frank is going to favour the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1 system. And so we're going to have a quick look at a couple of examples of how he could fit into that. There are obviously lots more connotations of how he'll play in the centre of a 3-5-2 or different systems that could be deployed, but let's look at a couple of the main ones and what we're expecting to see most often.
Cool. Well, I'll move on to the first slide here. You've got Simons on the left replacing Brennan Johnson. I think a lot of people expected everyone just to see him fly in, take Sarr's place as traditional 10, and that would be that. But you've got some different ideas here.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of going off where he's been playing previously as well. And I think in terms of in the team, we've got a slot at the minute, certainly to play him off the left-hand side, which is where he's very, very comfortable. If you check his heat maps, he often drifts out to the left, even if he's playing centrally, but he very often starts on the left-hand side of the three, or he starts on a narrow, playing in a very narrow system for Leipzig. He plays on the left-hand side of 2 10s. So I think that this is potentially something that Thomas Frank is going to use him for. He's going to have him as a 10 playing off the left-hand side. And as we can see on the screen, I think he's going to particularly want to come in and interact in that zone that you can see, that kind of light blue area in there. He's going to want to come. He's going to want to play with the striker dropping in, with the midfielders getting forward and playing. And that's why he's going to get into that little zone, because if he comes in, if he tucks in, if he's playing off the left and he comes into that zone, he's going to be really hard to mark, particularly if he times it very well. The wide players are not going to know whether to track him inside or to let him go and pass him on. Defenders are going to find it very hard to know whether to step up and out or to stay back and then call in a midfielder to come and block it. He's very, very good at this, about getting in between the lines and playing and picking up possession. And he's a wonderful technician off his right foot. He's got really nice touch. And I think he can play in those nice tight spaces, particularly against low block teams where you want someone kind of wriggling into a space and then getting a shot off in those central areas, which we know Thomas Frank loves.
Well, it sounds like he's got the perfect number 9s for that, right? They're creative, big target men type number 9s that are going to hopefully bring him into play and allow him to use that right foot of his to score some nice goals for Tottenham and add to those goal contributions from midfield. Should we want to move on to the next slide here then, JJ?
Let's do it. Okay, so here we can see another thing that I think is going to be really, really important if he does play on the left-hand side. We know that Thomas Frank is building this Tottenham team to be very resilient defensively, and so there are going to be no passengers in terms of the players that are being brought in. He will have been made aware, having spoken to the manager, that he will have defensive duty. He has shown that he can do that. He's a very dynamic player, and he's going to be able to get back and support his fullback. So what we've done here is we've just identified that he will also be a threat in transition as a ball carrier. So you can see here with the red dotted line, the red arrow is him using that kind of, it's almost a half space, but it's, just a little bit wider than maybe it is traditional for what you might call that. But he will be used, if we can get the ball in deep areas, bringing opposition onto us, he will be used as a ball carrier to charge up the pitch, because he's got the technical quality and he's got the pace to do that. It'll be interesting to see how his speed translates in the Premier League, which we know is such a fast league. It's going to be one of the biggest tests for him, but he's a quick player without being, he's not winger fast, but he's a quick player and he's very good on the ball. So I think he's going to be used to advance with the ball at feet. And then you can see with the black dotted line, the fullback or a wing back, if we were playing a 5, are going to have a kind of target zone to get up and beyond him. So he will go up the pitch carrying the ball, and then he wants other players coming with him to provide options. So he's drawing players towards him to either lay it off, set them off, or take a player on and beat a player, which he can do, and then free them into lots and lots of space. So I think that's going to be an area that Thomas Frank is going to use him a lot if he plays him on the left-hand side.
Interesting. And the next side is more of him in a traditional 10 position, right, with Bentancur and Paulinho behind. Johnson's back in the lineup for this one. You've got some really dangerous runs coming in, hopefully from Johnson's here, and Simmons taking on more of a creative role. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is the one that you were referencing, Jim. So a lot of people, obviously, they think of him, he's the number 10, he's coming in, so he's going to play in the number 10 position. I can definitely see it, and I can definitely see with the fact that at the moment we don't have any other number 10s really, apart from maybe Kudus, who can play there. You can definitely see that he could be deployed. There's lots of teams that you'd be excited to see him in this central zone. So what we've identified here is the wide forwards, the wingers, crashing the box, get into the box, make those runs, give him those options to play the ball forward into them. And you can see that with those black lines. So he's displayed, particularly for Leipzig, when I was watching the Y-Scout, he has displayed a really nice weight of pass. He's done really, really well at freeing his strikers with little channel balls alongside centre half. So he's shown that he's got really deft touch and nice weight of passing. So I think he's going to try and use that. And all of that is going to be down to the timing of the runs from players who are going to be getting in behind and alongside the defenders. Again, in this particular system, if he's playing in the number 10 behind, you're also going to want your striker, Richarlison, Dom Solanke, you want them pushing up against opposition defenders. So stretch them, hold them back. Don't let them squeeze the play up so that it gets very congested in that midfield. So he gets a little bit more time as he tries to find his feet in the Premier League and with the pace of the league until he's really firing and really showing what he can do. So those are some of the things. And obviously with that midfield 3, you've got Bentancur, who's a very silky player, lovely on the ball, and then Paulinho to sit and provide cover. But I could see them rotating. So those light blue lines, they will rotate, they will change positions, they will move into each other's spaces to try and move around the opposition and to try and make sure that they can't pick him up, they can't mark him, and we can free him up and get him on the...
Exciting times. And it's preferential as well. And well, it's good for us that Brennan Johnson's, one of his strengths is his positioning, being able to get into places that stretch defenders. Mohamed Kudus is able to stretch defences with his dribbling ability and his forward running play as well. So hopefully these players are able to create enough space for him to shine at Spurs. But I think that was our last bit, wasn't it, JJ, on the topic? So thank you very much. Excited to see him. Won't be seeing him tomorrow, but after the international break, we'll have to watch him playing for Holland in between. And yeah, up the Spurs.
Come on, Tom.